keep hearing the word Gesundheit in my head. I don't know why, but it just it keeps coming. So Gesundheit. I wanted to talk about, in my mind, there's a situation with a female energy who had to walk away from something very painful, and she found herself to be very lost and very confused and very alone. And perhaps this is, I know it's a wide collective because it happens to us females quite frequently. But first of all, it's all going to be okay. Second of all, if you find yourself in a place where you need to walk away, some of you might be having a hard time making that decision. And I want to say that there's a saying in Japan, I think, that maybe it's not Japan, maybe it's Turkey. I'm not sure. One of something. Not American. But anyway, if you get on a train, the longer you spend going in the wrong direction, the more expensive it will be to come back. And by expensive, of course, that means spiritually. The more energy you're going to have to expend to come back to center, to come back to yourself. And I think that because we get so attached and distracted with things that we might like in people, things that we might be drawn to, we constantly hop on a train that we have no business being on. And the more time and effort that we spend going in that direction, we keep seeing like little signs like, hey, turn around. And we don't turn around. And I think it's part of our journey, you know. And we all do it. But perhaps right now, somebody needs to hear this, that the journey keeps getting more and more expensive, you know, because life is quite short, regardless of how long you spend in it. It's still quite short, you know, and it really starts to fly by the older that you get. And we don't really, even in a regular day of 24 hours, you know, take away the hours that you sleep and have to go and do a job or something, we really don't get a lot of time, you know. And it's your reminder, like, how much time have you wasted, of your time have you wasted doing things for someone else? And I don't mean doing good deeds, but doing things that you have no interest in doing or taking part in, that you're doing just so that you could oblige to what someone else wants to do, you know? How many people, connections have you been in or entered into with people that you share zero interest with, you know? How many football games have you watched that you have no interest in watching? How many times have you been hiking even though you don't like hiking and you don't enjoy it at all? How many times have you gone to the beach even though you don't like sand? You know what I mean? And this goes both ways. I feel like we're constantly trying to make people fit into a mold that we build for them, basically, you know? How much time and effort do we take in shaping ourselves to fit someone else's mold at the same time? And that's something that, like, us people pleasers, I'm very much so that. I don't know how many times I've tried to fit a mold of what I want to be like in order to be liked by somebody. And I don't really do that so often now. And as you go through your journey, you know, a lot of times people help shape us. We meet people that really, you know, sometimes flip our world on its tail and make us question things, make us look into things and be open to things that we haven't been open to before. And that's all fine and dandy, you know. Sometimes we need to be open to a different journey, to a different path, to different interests. But that's when we're being true within ourselves. You know, perhaps we didn't have certain likes before that we're now more open to, and that's beautiful. That's beautiful. But then there's things that just don't vibe with us, and I'm talking about those things, you know what I mean? There's really not a lot of time on this planet, you know, and we're blessed with every single minute. And so I want you, if you're having trouble walking away from something, you're never going to get that time back, you know, whatever age you are, you're never going to get that time back. And if you're thinking about walking away from a situation, a career, a path, a person, don't do so because you're getting distracted by someone else, because that someone else that you're getting distracted by might also be something that you're ignited by. You know, we're always surrounded by sparks. You know, there's sparks everywhere and I mean, they come in forms of people. You know, someone is handsome, someone is beautiful, someone is just like, gives us so much love and attention, and we're not getting it elsewhere. So we're like drawn to that. Don't ever do that. Everything's a distraction, but you need something to light your fire, like eternal flame. You know what I mean? What will light you on fire that will last a lifetime? Sometimes it's a person, sometimes it's not. You know, the only time that you should walk away from someone is when you feel that you would be better off alone, that you would be better off in center with yourself. You know, sometimes it's abusive relationships. Sometimes it's career paths that make us so drained that we just can't, you know. Would we be better off completely separating from that and being one with ourselves for a while? Don't ever go from place to place, person to person, looking for something, because you're looking for something outside of yourself, from a third party or from a second party, another party, an outside source, rather than from within. Find your peace within. You know, sometimes it's a lifelong thing, but you need to look within. You need to find, what is it that is me? What is it that makes me happy? What do I want to do? And when you surround yourself with the things that make you happy, then you will start making better connections. You will start finding it easier to walk away from difficult connections, from difficult people, from bad friendships or bad relationships, because you would be at peace with yourself. You know, when you are on a path that you are not so sure about and you're shaky, you kind of get attached to people, because you attach your happiness to people. You attach your happiness to an outcome with a person because you're drawn to a person, you know. But when you are full within yourself, and people call it self-love or whatever, but it also has to be a sense of peace with the path that you're on, a sense of peace with who you are as a person, with how you fill your day, the activities, the interests, the hobbies. And then you'll find yourself, okay, do I have time for another person to be in it? Will they take away from me, from what I'm about, or will they contribute? And then it's easier to make the right decisions, to make the decisions to walk away from where you see people are taking away from you. They're making you spend time in doing things that aren't in your benefit. They're taking away from your peace, from your sense of identity. Or are people coming in and being supportive, people who are interested in what you're doing, people who are contributing their own time and effort into making you better in your own choices. So yeah, I don't know who needed to hear that. I know I need to hear that all the time, because I very easily get attached to people, because I love having connections, you know, and I'm very, very moody. And perhaps I'm talking to someone else who's very moody. I could be like this. And I don't mean moody as in like bipolar. I mean like 1 second of the day, I want to be completely alone and a hermit, and I just want to be jaded. And then the next second, I want to be out and about and I want to show myself. And this could happen like this 10 times a day. And it's probably not the best, but it's people who are empaths, I feel like we go through that because it's very hard to differentiate what's my energy, what's other people's energy, what's the collective. It's hard. Anyway, I hope you find peace within. Okay, bye.